Hello, and welcome to Collect Jurassic World. I'm Victoria.
And this is Tim.
And we are your hosts on this adventure through all things Jurassic World.
That includes toys and collectibles, as well as movie, TV, and community updates.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the park is open. It's another day in the park. It looks like there's quite a bit going on. The campers are just starting to arrive over at the East Dock, and I'm hearing that they're here for Camp Cretaceous.
Yes.
The Raptor squad is now adding another member to the pack, and the show is about to start over at the Pachy Arena. Tim, are you ready?
I'm ready, and we're going to head straight over to asset tracking before we head over to the Pachy Arena. Really excited for that show to start, but over on asset tracking, we have some pretty exciting stuff here in the park. Let's go ahead and start with Savage Strike figures. This year, Savage Strike figures, we have a wave that's kind of mixed in with some Camp Cretaceous figures that has not hit the U.S. I think Savage Strikes in general here in the U.S. From Mattel have been a little bit harder to find the further along we went into last year. I think we'll talk a little bit more about that, but these new Savage Strikes, you can actually get them from Amazon Japan right now. A lot of people have actually ordered them, and I was just telling somebody the other day that, you know, the places that Mattel Jurassic Collecting takes you when you're trying to get all these figures, and I've ordered from a lot of different places, but I've never ordered from Amazon Japan, so it was kind of news. It was kind of a new thing to me. I had to like make an account. I had to switch it to English, but it's still super hard to understand.
That's a new one.
Yeah, and even then I couldn't actually place the order because it kept declining my card for some reason. So I had to order it through somebody. I still don't have them in, but a friend of ours, Victoria, Greg, ordered them in successfully. It was like 3 days shipping. It was nuts.
That's wild.
You get all those Savage Strike figures, which I think the highlight for this wave for most people is probably going to be that, I think it's Stegosaurus.
Yeah. I can't even get a package from Entertainment Earth in 3 days, and they're only 2 counties away.
Yeah, right. And then you have Japan over here shipping. I think it's like DHL, and then they just ship it. And I think the whole thing together, you end up paying like a little bit of markup on the figures. But I think like it comes down to like $15 or $16 a figure, which for a $10 figure
that's not
great.
bad.
That's not bad for the trouble of getting it from Japan. So definitely a useful outlet for people who are not wanting to be patient and wait for those figures if they even ever come and just want to order them straight up. Worth noting that they do have like these wax stickers on them that cover the English language with Japanese, which is actually kind of cool.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool. It makes me think of like those Jurassic Park posters in all the different languages.
Yeah.
I kind of dig it.
Yeah. Do we know by any chance what city they're shipping from in Japan?
Ooh, man.
Maybe we should ask Greg.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know about whatever it is. It's obviously right next to an airport because they run that package over right there. But yeah, this wave has Stegosaurus, a repainted Stegi Moloch, which I really like. It has Velociraptor. Man, why am I blanking now? I think it's Echo with some wacky colors. And then we have Postosuchus again. And who am I forgetting here? I gotta look it up. Sorry, I'm totally drawing a blank.
While you're drawing a blank, I have a question for you, Tim.
Yeah.
Who's Post Malone's favorite dinosaur?
Post Malone's favorite dinosaur? I don't know. Let me hear it.
Postosuchus.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell it's bad.
I know, it's terrible.
Styracosaurus was the missing figure. Sorry, Styracosaurus. That's the other one. It's a repaint, but it's a new paint job on that. So a lot of repaints, but that Stegosaurus again is like kind of the hot one for this assortment. So if you're desperate, hit up Amazon Japan.
Yeah, and that previous release Styracosaurus has shot up in value quite a bit since it came out.
Yeah, totally. You just never know what figures are going to be like super popular, but it seems like the ones that don't get a lot of repaints, in general, kind of retain a lot of value. Which I think it's been said before that like the reason that like Mattel does so many repaints is so that people can keep kind of breaking into the collecting and getting a chance at every figure because there's a repaint coming out, but then these figures that never get repaints just automatically, become more valuable, which is kind of cool, kind of interesting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then speaking of Savage Strikes, I think I guess we'll get to trophy room later because you were able to track a one down from the last wave, but we have been seeing the first wave of Primal Attack Savage Strikes hitting stores like at Target. I think, did you see them in person?
Yeah, it looks like they're hitting stores once again. Over the last month or so, Tim, I've been seeing like the remnants of that wave. I've been seeing Charlie a little more frequently. And when I went to Target last week, after we had already recorded our last episode, I saw Sauropelta, and you know, which I hadn't seen Sauropelta since like very early this year.
Yeah.
And of course, they had Charlie and Blue and, you know, the rest of that wave. So yeah, it's really cool because I know that people, I mean, some of those were kind of in demand for a bit.
Right.
And it's nice that more of them are shipping through.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can go online right now and buy it for $9.99. Like, the Sauropelta is still, like, marked up. So, the fact that you could find it in Target, I know around here I haven't seen them in Targets. But like you said, Charlie's been spotted a lot in other Targets. And then now that you've seen the rest of the wave, it's clear that they're all sort of showing up there. I kind of dig that jumping blue in the Primal Attack packaging. Not enough to buy it, but I do like it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and Sauropelta is cool too. So that's cool. I'm still looking forward to seeing them around here. I do remember right before the whole lockdown started, I found Sauropelta in a Kohl's store, which I think is a national chain. So that's kind of another place you could look for it if you were desperate. But anytime something hits Target or Walmart, that's kind of a good sign for, you know, mass availability.
Absolutely. It's a very good sign.
And then I guess we'll talk Legos. Not something we talk about too much in this show because Legos kind of come out like once a year, basically.
Yeah.
But the new Lego Jurassic World sets are hitting Walmart.com and the Walmart stores as well. You don't collect the Legos, right? Or do you?
Not really. I really got into Jurassic World in 2015. I bought all of the sets.
Yeah.
I didn't keep them. I built all of them, but I didn't keep all of them.
Yeah.
And I kind of pick and choose these days. The only one that I got from the last round, I think, was the classic Jurassic Park set.
Yeah, I mean, that's a must-have for sure. That's a cool set, and I really wish they did more Jurassic Park sets.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say that first Lego wave, 2015, was probably my least favorite out of all of them. It had some cool stuff in it, but I think what they're doing with these last 2 years is actually pretty cool. I think they kind of... There's a Lego show, which I've never watched. I think it's like Secrets of Isla Nublar or something. I've never watched it, but it's like it exists in an open Jurassic World park, much like the show. And they have like attractions and like, you know, an open lab and all that stuff. So I kind of like that the Lego sets explore that myself. But I'm like you, I'm real choosy. It's just ultimately I end up buying them all, but I don't buy them all at once like I do most toys. I tend to like kind of spread it out and get them on sale. But the new ones are hitting. Yeah,
the new ones are hitting, and I got a chance to look at them earlier, and they look pretty cool. I mean, some of it's kind of repeat. You know, you're getting some of the same species again, but the sets themselves look pretty nice.
Yeah, and there's a Gallimimus now and an Ankylosaurus, which are both new Lego minifigures, which is cool. And I kind of dig the new Indominus Rex. I think I'm the only person who likes Lego Jurassic who thinks that. I've heard a lot of people say they don't like it, but I kind of like it. It's like more gray, whereas the first one was very white. I dig it.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't looked at it that closely, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's cool. And then we have another Camp Cretaceous set we can talk about. And I think you ordered it tonight. Is that correct?
I did. And I don't really get into these mini Jurassic dinos.
Yeah.
The only ones that I got in 2018 were like the Legacy Collection ones. You know, the ones that Target had in those multi-packs or 3-packs. But that's been about the extent of it. I always thought they were pretty neat. I've seen these really cool displays that some people do where they make like these really itty bitty planters with like tiny plants and sand, and they put them in there and they look awesome. I don't have room to do that, but no, they're neat. They're fun. They're, you know, just little dinos and
yeah. The mini dinos are cool. I'm with you. I didn't really get into them. I didn't even really get the Legacy ones. I thought the packaging was cool, but I still didn't get into them. Mainly because of space, but I think what's cool about this new set is that it's like a box set. It's Camp Cretaceous, so you have that packaging around it, and it just kind of shows all the figures nicely. It does come with Bumpy, but it's kind of funny. You can't even see Bumpy. The way they like put the tray into the box, at least by this photo, he's like completely hidden.
He's hiding.
He's like he's like the only, I think, truly new figure in this set. The rest are sort of repaints of existing minis, but the Indominus looks cool. What else is in there? Parasaurolophus. Yeah, there's some good stuff in here.
Yes.
And I mean, the minis for me, I really like, I don't know if you've seen them, those metallic versions. I get after those just because I know they're rare, but I still haven't gotten into like collecting all of them. But the metallic ones look cool, and it looks like this set actually includes the metallic Indominus, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, those are neat. There's a lot of variants, aren't there, for the minis? You have metallics, you have different colors.
Right, yeah. There's like, and then the different waves have like slightly different colors of things, which that's kind of where, I mean, I'm a pretty serious collector, but that's kind of where you lose me, where it's like, well, this one has a spray paint of brown on his back, and this one has a spray paint of tan on his back. It's like, okay, I got to tap out here. Yeah, it's a really cool set. But let's go ahead and head over to upcoming exhibits and take a look at what is coming up on display in the park.
What is coming up, Tim? So Chronicle Collectibles has released this Breakout Raptor. And it's basically what you would think it is. It's from the first Jurassic Park, which we always like to see new products from any company from the original Jurassic Park.
Definitely, yeah.
And this is basically an unseen moment just off screen in the original film in which the raptors figured out that the fences were no longer electrified, and they make a run for it. This raptor is basically eaten through the electric fencing, and it's on its way out to go wreak havoc in the park.
Yeah, it's awesome. The raptor itself is probably, I mean, I just love a lot of these collecting companies exploring what the raptor is kind of colorized like. I think that's one of the great debates in the Jurassic community, is what color is the Jurassic Park Velociraptor. And this is kind of a more vibrant take, but I think it looks really cool. I love the pose, I think, is my favorite.
I did too. This is like you said, it's hugely highly detailed. It's really nice. The coloration on it is vibrant, as far as we can tell here in these pre-production photos. But yeah, I think that pose is something that really stands out, because it almost looks like it's perched. It's not, but it looks like it's perched on all fours.
Yeah.
And
definitely perch is the right word. She looks like she's like a bird.
Exactly. It's very bird-like, and it looks like she's just gone out for the first time. She's like, ooh, where am I going to go first? Am I going to go to the T-Rex paddock? Am I going to go to the East Dock? Am I going to go to let's go to the visitor center.
Let's go to the bunker and eat Ray Arnold. Let's go tear his arm off. I also like the back end of the statue. You can see where she's clawed up the wall, like it's all scratched up.
Yes.
Just really cool. One thing I'm reading here on the website that I think is worth mentioning is that they designed it along with ILM animation director Glenn. Is it McIntosh or McIntosh?
Yes, Glenn McIntosh.
Sorry, Glenn. This collectible is the realization of a moment never seen on film, which is awesome, because that isn't seen on film where they get out. But it's kind of cool that they went and worked with somebody, with some experience with the Jurassic franchise to kind of create this moment. It's like headcanon, kind of, or
exactly.
I just think that's awesome.
It is awesome, and Glenn's really cool. I don't know if you saw my video from a few years ago, but I was trying to pry like spoilers from Fallen Kingdom from him.
See if you can pry one of these raptor statues from him. And it looks like if you order it through Chronicle Collectibles, you get this exclusive sign, which is just like the classic raptor logo.
I love that.
Yeah. I love that it says no feeding, flash photography, or yelling. Did not know I could not yell by the raptor paddock. That's news to me.
Yeah, well, that's what I don't know if you ever saw one of those old posters from '93, but I think it had a picture of the raptor paddock or the T-Rex or something, but it had that exact sign on it too.
Oh, that's awesome. No yelling, please.
Yes.
This thing's pricey though, $550 with payment plans. I mean, mind you, but that's still a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And it's huge.
It is dimensioned 17 inches long, 11 inches wide, and 12 inches tall.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's big. And I just think it's so cool. I'm looking at it even closely now. It's perched on the handrail that someone would use to like look into the fence, and that's just so cool.
It is really neat. It's just, these pieces, I know we've talked about it before, but this is the kind of stuff where, you're probably going to have like a few dedicated shelves like that have one of these items on each shelf, probably. Like, it's not like me. I have tons of shelves, but they're covered in action figures and countless dinosaurs. And, this isn't the kind of thing I can really support.
Quantity, not quality, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It makes me kind of want, like, looking at the concrete detailing on this, it makes me wish they would, like, make miniature versions of the Raptor paddock, like, I've seen Disney do that for, like, the Haunted Mansion. Like, I want a miniature version of the Raptor paddock. That would be awesome. Miniature version of the visitor center, all that stuff would be so cool to have realized in a really high-end way from a company like this. I'd be all over that.
Yeah. Best attraction ever, the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. And I think the thing about Jurassic too, it's like, obviously the dinosaurs are iconic, the vehicles are for sure, but a lot of the architecture is too. I mean, it's just it's all right up there. And I say that from a completely unbiased place as a mega Jurassic fan.
But if you think about it, like even Jurassic World's like architecture's become kind of iconic in its own way. It's totally very specific, and it's the same thing with Jurassic Park. You have those thatched roofs, you have the imprinted fossilized dinos like in the walls, you have the concrete, you have very specific fonts, like the 10,000 volts, all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
and I think, not to go off on a tangent here, but like I think that's what a lot of people are drawn to from Jurassic, is that like really strong visual identity that they have across like everything in the film. It's just definitely brought me in as a kid.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, moving on about that Raptor squad that we talked about earlier. Amber Collection is growing. I think we talked about it a little bit on the last show with the Dilophosaurus and Dennis Nedry hitting Amber Collection, but now we have Delta as well, new Jurassic World figure, which is obviously part of the Raptor squad. Our third Raptor in the Raptor squad released, and our fourth Raptor in the Amber Collection. That stings a little bit because they all are repaints, but I'm still excited for Delta.
I am too, Tim, and to quote Kylo Ren, from what I've just seen on Amazon, Amber is about to become a true collection.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people are feeling that now. Whenever we talk about Amber Collection, you always say that there's like this contingent of collectors out there that might not collect Jurassic.
I like what you did there.
But would collect like a 6-inch line. But I think when it was just a couple figures, then it was 3 figures, it wasn't very exciting. It wasn't very alluring. But now that we have, Nedry, the Dilophosaur, now we have Delta. I mean, the line is starting to flesh out a little bit, and I think people are like, oh, this is actually worth collecting now. So that's exciting. I think Amber Collections, I hope, is just getting started.
I hope so too. And I know that's something that we've touched on, time and time again, is that it's such a weird collection because the releases are so spread out, or at least they were for the first year.
Right.
When was it that Malcolm and the Raptor, those were like last fall,
It was last
right?
year. It was last year. I don't remember when, but it was after. I think they went up for pre-order at San Diego Comic-Con, and then they came out like in October, right. I want to say, maybe October.
That's right. And GameStop didn't ship out the pre-orders, right? They shipped out like if you just ordered them directly from the site.
If you were really good about pre-ordering them early, then you didn't get your pre-order. But if you like bought it like the week before they shipped, then you got it. Yeah. Awesome job, GameStop.
That's right. Right. Yeah. No, but those were announced like a really long time ago. It was like 2018, I think, Comic-Con when they announced those.
Oh, yeah. Forever ago, yeah.
Yeah, so the releases have been very sporadic, and, we're now getting Nedry and the Dilophosaurus, and, we're seeing Delta. Delta looks cool.
Yeah, Delta does look cool.
I'm eager for first of all, the humans, from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of hungering a bit for other dinosaurs. Maybe are we going to go bigger? Are we going to stay at this Raptor Dilophosaurus size, or are we going to go a little bit bigger? Where's our Triceratops? Where's our Stegosaurus? Like, can things like that happen?
Right. I mean, we're kind of running out of dinosaurs at this size. I mean, you could do Gallimimus, I guess, and you could keep repainting raptors with like the Lost World Tiger Raptor and the Jurassic Park 3 Raptors. But to a certain extent, we can't be only releasing raptors. So, yeah, I'd love to see them get larger, and I'd love to see more humans, obviously. So, yeah, going back to what you said about the waves being sort of weird or like intermittent releases, it is super strange. Like Charlie came out like right around the time Owen and Blue came out, but like it wasn't readily available, and then Delta seems to sort of be mixed in with Dilophosaurus, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, they're not like established waves because the figures are sort of up for pre-order in random places. I don't know. It's super, super weird. I don't really know what the plan is with that.
Yeah, it frustrates me a little bit because I feel like they sort of missed the boat to an extent. I think had they branded it as like a proper collection that would be released periodically in waves, I think they would have gotten a lot more people on board. But it's just so random that I think that's kind of scaring some people away. Like, maybe they're kind of waiting to see, what's going to happen long term. But I would have liked them to have like kind of planned it out a little bit more. Just kind of made it a little more dedicated a little bit more to it, I guess. But
and then the announcements like come from random places. Like, I know Entertainment Earth announced the Dilophosaurus, so it's just I agree with you. It's like if they had a real structured, like, this is the Amber collection for 2020, here's some mystery silhouettes for the first wave, like, kind of help hype it up instead of just sort of letting them trickle onto Amazon basically.
Right.
But that's okay. They have us to hype their stuff up, so we'll just keep doing that.
Yeah, whether they know it or not, they have us.
Yeah, right. One thing I want to point out, too, this kind of nitpicky, is that Delta comes with the harness for the head, similar to Charlie did, the Raptor Squad with the little camera, but Blue did not come with that harness. So when Echo inevitably releases, we're going to have all 4 Raptors in the Raptor Squad, but only one of them will be missing the harness. So kind of curious that's sort of missed on Blue.
Yeah, maybe if they do Jurassic World Owen, he'll come with it. Not that I'm in a hurry for that, but
yeah, I was gonna say I hope we don't. I don't think we need another Owen, but maybe that's what we deserve.
Maybe Claire will come with it.
I know Claire would be great. I would love a Jurassic World Claire with the white. I mean, I still feel like we're totally missing that figure in the 3 3/4 line, so I would love to get it in the amber line.
Yes, Mattel, please.
And for our next release we want to talk about, this one is super, super exciting. Couldn't wait to get on the show to talk about it. That's the Camp Cretaceous Camp Adventure playset. But yeah, this set's super exciting. It actually comes with a human figure.
Did I hear you say human figure, Tim?
Yeah, I know. I feel like between Dennis Nedry and the Hammond set and this set, it's like, what world are we living in where we're getting human figures as part of our Mattel Jurassic toy line?
It's really unexpected. I think there had been maybe like mumblings that maybe humans would come back around the time that Camp Cretaceous did.
Yeah.
I hope this isn't the only human. I feel like it would be very unusual if it was.
Yeah, I do too.
So hopefully, I don't know what their strategy is going to be. If they're going to do more multi-packs that have the humans, or if they're going to just have like new waves of figures. I think that'd be ideal. Throw Franklin in there finally.
Yeah.
And that'd be really cool. But no, this was a surprise, and I'm always on board for new Stegosaurus, as you know.
Yeah, a lot of people have really responded well to this one. Like, I'm finally going to get a Mattel Stegosaurus. The gray is really, really cool. And this set also comes with a Baryonyx, which is our 5th Baryonyx, if I'm counting correctly.
Yikes.
But it's a big set. I mean, Stegosaurus and Baryonyx by themselves are like big figures. So I'm really excited to see this on store shelves. I think it's going to really pop.
Yeah. It's going to be neat. I'm not too excited about the berry because just like you said, we have tons of them. But maybe it's recreating a scene from the show. Yeah, I think the Baryonyx have names in the show. I don't remember them off the top of my head. Barry. Yeah, Barry. They're all named Barry. The true star of this set is the human figure, though. It does come with Bumpy, and that's actually the same Bumpy as the mini Bumpy that we talked about earlier in the mini Dino Camp Cretaceous set. But he looks really cute here. And that Darius figure, that's his name, Darius. I mean, I think I'm really happy with what it looks like. It's got a ton of detail. A lot of, there's shoes and shoelaces. He's got a little necklace with a claw. I think it looks great. It does look really detailed, and he's kind of smiling, isn't he? Yeah, these pictures make him look a little creepy because his eyes are just wide open. It looks kind of weird. But I'm guessing the actual figure will probably look a little bit less surprised, maybe. So if you make Barry eat him, he'll be like, yay! He'll be appropriately surprised. Yeah. Yeah, and I think one thing that's important to note about this figure, at least for me, is when we first saw the Camp Cretaceous artwork with those characters on it, and I was like, wow, these are very cartoonish, very animated. If they make human figures, I don't really know how that's going to turn out. But I feel like
they kind of took like the Star Wars Black Series Rebels route, where they took this animated character and tried to like evolve it into sort of a not photorealistic, but a more realistic proportions and design to make this a toy. And I think that's what's happening here with Darius. He looks less like a cartoon and more like an actual figure that would fit in with the rest of the Mattel Jurassic figures.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he could fit in. He looks kind of a little bit like a hybrid, maybe, like realistic and animated. But no, he looks good, and I hope the other figures look just as good, whatever they come out with, as well.
Yeah, I really hope they have more sets. I thought we were going to get like a set with all of them, since it's about 6 campers and all that stuff. But maybe they'll get clever on us and release 6 kind of big packs like this and make us really spend our money to get this one.
And this concept is something we've talked about on the show before. We've talked about how Star Wars used to do battle packs, or you get humans but with other stuff. And this is definitely the kind of thing that I'd like to see more of. And if this is the only way that we can get human figures, then please do more of these. Even if it's just like one dinosaur and one human.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah, I'm on board for it too. And like I said, I love the way it looks as a package. It's just really nice looking. We got that Baryonyx and motorcycle set last year, but I think, again, it was like a Baryonyx and it just wasn't super exciting. But this one to me feels like kind of a must have, especially for just like kids who like dinosaurs and want like Jurassic World toys. Like this is sort of a one-stop shop box. You get everything.
Yes. Yeah, definitely a good gift, just like any of these box sets.
Yeah. And I do hope that we get to see, more figures in the future, but right now this is all we know about. I do know that this set is $39.99, and I don't know for sure if it's Target exclusive, but I would not be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah, or maybe it'll be a mass release. Who knows?
Yeah, we just never know. I'm sure in other countries it'll be that don't have Target, it'll still find its way out. It seems like Camp Cretaceous figures in general have gotten kind of a wider release this year, which is good to know for other countries kind of worried about availability.
Yeah.
And the next thing we have to talk about is actually even more intriguing and exciting to me than the new human figures, because of what it could mean for Jurassic collecting from Mattel in the future.
Yes, and we're talking about Mattel Creations. So Mattel Creations, Tim, is an initiative that Mattel launched not too long ago so that they could offer specific product directly to the consumer without going through distributors. Mattel is the distributor for the products that show up on Mattel Creations. So the first thing that they've had is the Cybertruck, which is like the Tesla RC. It's a 1/10 scale vehicle, and it's only $400. And they have a scaled version. I think it's 1/65 scale. That is only $20. So, a lot more affordable, but it's basically just like a really small version of, the fancy, much larger Cybertruck.
And only sold on MattelCreations.com. So not something that you can also go out and buy at Walmart or something. Like you said, this stuff is just hitting that website.
Yes. So only available through there. And so one thing that happened lately is, as you know, the Comic-Con or convention exclusive Nedry figure went up on sale through Entertainment Earth a couple weeks back.
Right.
And some people missed out. So they asked on social media, after Mattel had posted that picture of Nedry eating, somewhere in near Giza in Egypt.
Yep. The pyramids in the background.
So people said, hey, Mattel, we missed out. And Mattel responded and basically said, well, this isn't the end of it. Keep an eye on the Mattel Creations Instagram account for updates on that. So it sounds like Nedry is probably going to be coming in some capacity to Mattel Creations down the road. Yeah,
I wonder if they were going to use this platform to fulfill orders in general for Comic-Con, before it got canceled, because it just makes sense. And the fact that they're saying check back later in July, that's when Comic-Con would have been. So I'm expecting it to literally hit Mattel Creations like the week that Comic-Con would have been. And maybe that's just leftover from, what they had planned. But very cool that we're getting another chance at Nedry for people that didn't get them, that didn't get him. And also just kind of cool, what could Mattel Creations mean? Like, are they going to start crowdsourcing, bigger releases? I mean, my brain kind of goes wild with ideas as far as like what this website could give us for Jurassic toys.
Yeah. So that's the $1 million question is, to what extent are they going to utilize Mattel Creations for their various toy brands? So obviously, here on the show, we focus on Jurassic World. And, our minds instantaneously go to the possibilities that, might be out there for the future of the Jurassic World toy line.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they put a visitor center of any kind, command compound, call it whatever you want, on there for $800, we would all buy it. It's our version of the sail barge. Because the sail barge, the Star Wars sail barge on HasLabs, that was $800, right?
It's $500.
Oh, okay. So see, I'm even getting a little too ambitious here. Sorry, a $500 Mattel scale command compound. We would all buy that. I mean, easily, we would all buy that. And I think that they should start big like that. Like, don't work your way up to something. Like, don't start modestly with some, smaller Jurassic release. Like, go big for the first one if they're going to do it, and do some sort of huge grand playset.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. What Hasbro did with their HasLab product was offered something big that not everybody was going to be able to purchase or would maybe be interested in purchasing. This isn't something for your average toy collector.
No.
This is something for your serious toy aficionado who's been into this hardcore for many years. And I would absolutely love to see them do something, along those lines. Just, like you said, go big with it. Visitor center. You have your visitor center building. It has the lab in there. It has the the control room. It has electric fences. When a dinosaur gets too close to the fence lights up. It makes sizzling sounds.
Comes with Ray Arnold figure, like
or his arm.
Like, that would be awesome.
Exactly. It has the gate, a light up Jurassic Park gate that you can drive your hypothetical jungle explorer through.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, the Jurassic line hasn't had something like this. And that's one of the things we always talk about is how affordable the line generally is.
Yeah.
They haven't priced anything, terribly high. I want to say the highest thing is probably the Colossals or the Quest for Indominus, something like that.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. There really isn't any big ticket items. Even the Brachiosaurus is $50, which is just very reasonable. It
is. So, this wouldn't be something for your average, casual, Jurassic World toy buyer, but somebody that there is an audience for things like that. Jurassic as a franchise is 27 years old now.
Yeah.
So, these companies are continually catering to those kinds of collectors, and it's not just like the high end companies like Hot Toys that are going for, the adults with lots of money willing to plop down on, expensive figures. Mattel's been doing this. Hasbro's been doing this, Playmates, all these other, mass producing companies that like traditionally cater to kids, are going for that collector market these days. They acknowledge that it exists. And that's why you have things like the Sail Barge. That's why you have all these retro collections like Ghostbusters and Star Wars and Ninja Turtles. So I think there's a lot of possibilities here. I think that they can definitely cater to that audience.
Yeah.
If they wanted to get ambitious and do something with Jurassic, I know a lot of us would be here for it.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It should be like kind of steeped in nostalgia and not just something Jurassic World related, but Jurassic Park would be, a little bit more appropriate for some high-end collectible that you're asking an adult collector to plop down on. But I would like to see what they could do with Amber Collection on Mattel Creations too. Like, I don't know, maybe an Amber collection of Pachycephalosaurus for $500. I don't know. But yeah, I my mind goes crazy. There's just so many different possibilities. So we'll kind of just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Amber's definitely another route that they could go. And yeah, I agree. I'd like to see something. I think we're all still waiting, at least those of us who love detail and articulation, not necessarily action features. Some of them can be cool, but
yeah,
that highly detailed Amber Collection T-Rex that looks exactly like the Jurassic Park Rex. And
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, with all the joints and everything. That would be like the ultimate thing, like for Amber, I think, at this point.
Right. And I feel like now that I've held a lot of Amber figures in my hand, like, I don't think it would be like as ridiculous and expensive as you'd think it would need to be to make an Amber Collection T-Rex. Like, they could probably make a pretty decent one for like $150 or $200. And if it was a risky, distribution thing, then yeah, they could just use Mattel Creations, and I think that would be extremely popular. So Mattel, if you're listening, go ahead and just do that.
Please do it.
Yeah.
All right, as we head over to the trophy room, where we explore our latest collection acquisitions in the world of Jurassic, we'll have a look and see what's been added to the collection over the past couple of weeks. So, Tim, mine is pretty minor. I haven't really added a whole lot. Basically, all I've ended up with, and I know you alluded to it earlier, was the Savage Strike Pachycephalosaurus for Primal Attack. So Walmart got these in stock online. And was it you that mentioned that I don't remember who threw the link.
I think it was Greg.
Okay.
It's always Greg.
So yes, our mutual friend, once again, Greg, who, he's obviously, has quite an effect on.
I think Greg is mentioned like an equal on this show to you and I's name. So it's kind of
exactly.
Funny. He's
exists. Responsible
he's not a magical person who sends us Jurassic toy.
Yeah,
he's a real person.
He is a real person. And he does contribute a lot to our expenditures in plastic. So yeah, I guess he threw the link in there and said, hey, Walmart has these in stock. And I was like, they do.
$9.99.
So yeah, $9.99. I grabbed 2 of them. I wanted to make sure I got one with good paint. They actually both look really good. Like, neither of them have any issues at all. I kind of like it. I mean, I'm not a fan of the sculpt. But I never have been. But this paint seems to maybe be one of the better Pachy's.
Well, why don't we save that Pachycephalosaurus and let him out in our Pachy Arena here in a little bit. But that is cool that you're able to get him for $9.99. But you really need to step up your Jurassic collecting. If that's the only figure you got since we last recorded, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there that you could be tracking down. Come on.
Hey, well, we're in the middle of convention season, minus conventions, and
yeah.
NECA's releasing their Ninja Turtles. I don't know if you've seen them, Tim, but they're like the...
I saw the band. Yeah.
The band, yeah.
That's pretty ridiculous. It looks pretty awesome, though.
It is.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that VHS back in the early 90s, so...
Oh, my gosh. It's like the Chuck E. Cheese band on a whole nother level.
Oh my God, no, these are better. These weren't robots. These are like people in costumes.
Their faces are robots. No, I love the movie Turtles, so anything related to those is cool to me. But yeah, I mean, there's other Jurassic figures that you can readily grab, and I know I grabbed a couple. I've grabbed more than a couple, but to keep this segment short, I'll just focus on some of the cool ones. The super colossal Indominus Rex was one that I grabbed. I think I got that from Target, and it seems like they've popped up at a lot of Targets. Such an awesome figure. Super Colossal, I'm always impressed. Last year we got Blue and, of course, the Super Colossal T-Rex, but this Indominus is literally the crowning achievement for Super Colossal. It looks just like the maquette they use for Jurassic World, like to a T, especially when you shut its mouth and you carry it around. It's like you feel like you're carrying around this $800 statue that just only weighs 10 pounds because it's made of plastic, but it's just so well done. And for this year's Super Colossal, they actually brought back the ability to like swallow figures and dump them out of your stomach. So they didn't do that with Blue for whatever reason. Probably trying to keep the character wholesome. Blue would never eat other dinosaurs. She's a vegetarian. But the Indominus, you can totally do it. You can put figures down its throat and spit them out in the bottom, which I love that. Reminds me of the old Kenner Bull Rex. And yeah, this figure is just awesome. The detail is awesome. It's kind of weird in the Camp Cretaceous box. I'm not going to lie. It's not my favorite packaging for a figure. I like Camp Cretaceous packaging. It just looks weird, all blown up on this Indominus. But folks, if you see him at Target, I'm serious, you will not be disappointed. It's just an awesome figure. Yeah. And then kind of on that front, Camp Cretaceous, Target, did find the new Snap Squad. Snap Squad has been hitting Target kind of more and more as time goes on. Wow. And the new Camp Cretaceous wave is super interesting because it's a couple repaints, but they're all metallic, and there's like a new Triceratops and Bumpy. I feel like we talk about Bumpy at length every show now, but... They're all metallic, and I kind of dig that. It's sort of weird, but it kind of gives this particular wave kind of pop out from all the other Snap Squads we got, and sort of highlight the fact that they're from this animated show. So they're cool, and I think they're going to be pretty readily available for people that want to find them, which is always nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I haven't seen myself the Indominus yet. I haven't seen it locally. But it does look rad in pictures, and I've never seen a single Snap Squad in a store.
Yeah, isn't that weird? So, and you're seeing like the new Savage Strike figures, like the Sorapelta you mentioned. Like I've never seen those around here, so that's just so weird to me.
Yeah, I want those Snap Squads though. I definitely want to get them at some point if I ever find them. But
yeah, I mean, I know my Target actually started restocking the old Snap Squads, like the previous wave, because I bought a wave of the Camp Cretaceous, and then I saw another wave, and Tom wanted it, so our friend Tom, I bought him a set, and I was like, oh, I'm sure they'll just restock more Camp Cretaceous, but then they went back and added the wave before it, which is Mosasaurus, and I think Indominus Rex, and then the brown T-Rex. So it's kind of cool that Target's just hopefully seems to be getting more and more of those waves, and not just new waves, but previous waves.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I'd love to find them, and the only ones that I have are those the very first batch from Mattel. One, yeah. I don't even think that was all of them. I think it was just like a selection of them.
Oh no, so. There's many now. I have a shelf full of them. There's a ton.
Oh wow!
And then I was going to remind you, if you are looking for Indominus, I know at my Target meaning the Target I go to most frequently because it's in my town, they're like in a weird spot on the back of a shelf, like by the bikes. They're nowhere by the action figure aisle. It's kind of random. They're almost like by the Disney aisle, like the princess aisle. So kind of funny. The Rex, the Epic Roaring Rex and Super Colossal Indominus have like their own dedicated upright. It's just nowhere near the action figure. So keep an eye out.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
But yeah, I mean, there's probably more figures like we could talk about for this trophy room, but we want to kind of spread the love all season and go over our finds as we record the show. So there'll definitely be more next time. But yeah, I think what we got here in terms of those rare Savage Strike figure, this new Camp Cretaceous stuff is super exciting. Yeah,
that's really cool to see. I'm always happy to see new toys hitting and you adding new stuff to your collection.
Yep. So for this episode, while we don't have anything specific to talk about kind of around generally in the Jurassic World sphere as far as movie news or anything, we did kind of want to put out there that on this show we won't be discussing any spoilers of any kind, just to be safe. And I think me personally, I really want to go into this next movie, with a lot of those fun things not kind of told to me beforehand. So here on the show, you can rest assured we won't be talking about whatever hot rumors flying around on the internet.
Yeah, awesome. And that goes also for social media. I mean, we're trying to avoid spoilers. That's just me and Tim.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of other people are as well. And no matter what you try and do, it seems like some spoilers always come through somehow or another, no matter how you try and block certain words or phrases on Twitter. You can always get DM'd something that you don't want to see.
Yep.
So, we would just kindly ask anyone that, is maybe excited or, we understand that if you're tempted to send spoilers our way or tag us in anything relating to Jurassic spoilers, we kindly ask that you please don't do that.
Yeah. Unless it's toys, then go ahead and tag me.
If it's toys, tag us all day long, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, just something to note going forward. Thanks.
All right, so as we go over to our collector survival guide and have a look and see what tips and tricks are being looked at this week, we're going to talk a little bit about toy collecting during the COVID-19 pandemic. Tim, the whole world has changed in the last several months due to this pandemic. I think we've reached a point in these past few months that we probably never really thought we would see in our lives. It's not something that we ever, outside of like films and stuff, we never really thought that this is where we would be one day. Here we are. And it's totally transformed the way we live our lives. So I guess what we want to do today is talk a little bit about, how that impacts our toy collecting and, what we should do as collectors, to navigate this time.
Right. And I know the last episode we talked kind of about what we did during the lockdown and played catch up. And we did talk a little bit about collecting, mostly panic buying, I think, or stress buying toys. But I think here we just want to take some time to sort of go over what we're doing, and obviously this is all up to whatever people feel safe with. Obviously everyone's at different comfort levels as far as going out in the world or buying or spending money or whatever. But I mean, I think if you're listening to this show, you're probably a pretty serious Jurassic collector and you've probably bought something in the last few months, and we just wanted to share some just general insight of kind of how we're doing it and how we're doing it safely. And I think the obvious one we want to start off with is buying online. I mean, I think we've all bought stuff online, and that's obviously the safest way to go. Don't have to leave your house, and there's quite a lot of items online that you can purchase.
Yeah, and a lot of the time these items hit online before they hit stores anyway, so toy collecting has trended towards online over the past few years, more and more. And, right now during these trying times, I think it's especially something that more people are looking at, have been doing. So us included, it's a convenient thing to do. It's the safest thing to do. Like you were saying, Tim, you stay home, order online. It has its pros and its cons, of course. But you don't have to go to the store. You're doing it from the comfort of your home, and it's shipped to you, and, it's an easy way to collect.
Right. And I know there's those diehards out there that just, they want to find it in the store. I mean, there's so many times in my comment section on social media where someone will be like, oh, I can't find this figure. And I'm like, dude, it's on Amazon. Here's the link. And they're like, no, I want to find it in the store. And I totally get that. I mean, I that's the thrill of the hunt. And I think that's kind of the point that we want to talk about in this section of the show is like, you and me probably both live for toy hunting. Yeah, I'll happily buy something online, but there's nothing like going to the store, rounding the corner, getting to the aisle of toys, and being completely disappointed by not finding what you were looking for. It's great. Even when it's disappointing, it's always fun. And obviously, lockdown, sheltering in place, being safe, trying to avoid the public as much as possible. I mean, that's taken a huge impact on this thing that like you and I both take joy from in our lives.
Exactly. It's been a thing that I've done since I was a kid, when I was going toy hunting, and it's something I've always done. I have relied on the internet to buy a lot more as time has gone on, but I still like going out there. I mean, before the pandemic, early March before this, I was going to Target like 5 times a week, some weeks trying to find stuff. And, especially mostly like those NECA Ninja Turtles, but that really got limited. I didn't go to Target for like 2.5 months.
Yeah,
I didn't go to Target, and even now, I've been trying to go no more than once a week, and just going early and being very careful, and but yeah, so no, that's definitely something we advise. If you can buy online. Maybe it's not your preferred method of acquiring toys for your collection, but, the thrill of the hunt's fun. It's great, but it's not as important as your health. So, we want to emphasize, online buying is hugely important during this time.
Right. And if you have to go toy hunting, which I won't judge because sometimes I have to go toy hunting too, try to make it coincide with groceries and essentials. So you're not just like, running out to check if they have Snap Squad. Like maybe, wait till you need milk and some bread, and then while you're there, swing by the toy aisle and just check real quick to see if it's there. That way you're not necessarily taking a risk you don't need to, or exposing people you don't need to. You can just kind of tie it in with something you were going to do already.
Exactly. A lot of us, there's online groceries. That's what I've been doing for like a long way before the pandemic. I mean, it's just more convenient, but I still always end up needing to go to the store to get something. Maybe I can't get a specific ingredient online, or I need like allergy, medicine or whatever. I got a contact lens solution, just anything. I need to go to the store. So if you need to go to the store, use that opportunity to, head over to the toy aisle rather than making a special trip for it. If you're already there out of necessity, then that's obviously the best time to take advantage of that trip to Target, Walmart, or whatever store you go to.
Right. And like you said, go early if you can. I think you probably have, or you're saying you get there pretty much right when they open, right?
I tried to. I know Target does have a couple of days reserved for vulnerable shoppers, and I think it's the first hour of a couple of days. Yeah. But I have found that, and I'm sure it obviously varies, but the nearest Target that I have is really good as long as I go like before 11 a.m. Mm-hmm. It's really not too bad. But then I have another Target a little bit farther away that is crazy busy, like at 9 a.m. So it really depends. But yeah, I think generally speaking, the earlier you can go, you're getting in there before everybody else is. So there's less chance of aerosolized, virus floating around in the store and, less people. So definitely safer.
Yeah, I think what's rough too, like you said, that your closest targets like that, for me, I used to commute to work. Right now I'm working from home, but I had a pretty decent commute. It was all on surface roads. It was 45 minutes. And if I played my cards right in a to and from work day, I could hit about 5 targets just in a day if I was going crazy and looking for something. And then if you multiply that by a few days a week, it's like you're really getting an eye on the stock coming in and all that stuff. I mean, I don't expect a lot of people to hunt that hard, but when you have access to that many targets and you're like me, it's like, why not? And I don't know if I'll ever get that level of hunting back if I'm not going back to work. And I'm kind of pretty much permanently going to be working from home because it's just safer. That's really rough for me. It's like I have my local target that I can hit, but I'm still not comfortable driving, an hour and a half round trip to go hit a bunch of targets just for toys. There's no grocery justification that means that I can hit that many targets, So that's a bummer, and I've yet to find the the substitute for that. But we're all just doing the best we can, and I think when you do go to stores, you have to follow the store guidelines, and if you're going and maybe it is just a special trip, like try to keep it brief. Like don't spend more time than you need to, and obviously don't how am I trying to say keep to yourself? Obviously don't,
social distance.
Get in groups of people. Just try to, social distance. Like just try to keep to yourself. And again, just follow the store guidelines, whether it's wearing a mask or entering in a certain entrance or going a certain way down the aisles. Like just try to follow that stuff because, if we all do that stuff, the sooner this will be over and the sooner I can get back to going to 6 different targets in one day.
Yeah, for sure. The sooner we get out of this mess, the quicker we can go back to things as they always were before. So, definitely wear a mask. It sucks, but it's a minor inconvenience when you think about, how important your health is. That's our most prized possession. It's not that, really fancy toy we want to add to our collections. It's our health. So wear a mask, social distance, follow your local, county health, state health guidelines, your store guidelines, keep your distance, wash your hands, and be safe.
All right, everyone, it's the moment you've been waiting for. We are heading to the Pachy Arena for our latest Jurassic Clash. We did hint at it earlier in the show, and obviously it's called Pachy Arena, so you can guess what this episode's figures are going to be, and that is the Pachycephalosaurus. We've got a lot of figures over the years for this, because we're not just going to talk about Mattel Jurassic World. We're talking about Kenner, we're talking about Hasbro, so there's a lot of figures we can go over here.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about in the world of Pachycephalosauruses. This is an interesting species. My first exposure to it was The Lost World Jurassic Park, seeing it in the movie. And that original toy from The Lost World, I actually wasn't aware, Tim, of the one that came from Series 2 for Jurassic Park until many years later. It's not one I recall ever seeing in stores.
Huh.
But there's obviously been a little bit done with these guys over these last few decades, so I'm excited to talk about them.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those mid-range dinosaur species. You have T-Rex, Raptor, Triceratops, your top tier always get toys, but Pachycephalosaurus is like kind of on the fringe of that, where it's just popular enough that it gets made into a lot of toys, not just Jurassic, just dinosaur toys in general. So I think that's why we have so many Jurassic figures from all the movies and all the different toy companies for Pachycephalosaur. But like you said, there was a Series 2 one that you didn't see in stores, and that's what we'll start off with. The original Jurassic Park Series 2 Pachycephalosaurus. I believe it has a code name, and I should look that up because those are always fun. But yeah, this one was definitely my first Pachycephalosaurus figure from Jurassic, was this Series 2. I don't remember like finding it in stores necessarily. I just know that I had it when it came out.
Yeah. No, you know what?
Codename Ramhead.
Ramhead.
Yeah.
You know, now that I think about it, my first exposure may have been the Dynamation robotic Pachycephalosaurus, possibly. Which I would have seen that before Jurassic Park, I believe. So that could have... Anyway, in any case, yes, Ramhead. Let's talk about Ramhead, Tim. So this was part of Jurassic Park Series 2. Like I said, I don't recall seeing it in stores, back then. But this was kind of the time where they were experimenting a little bit more with capture gear.
Yes.
And, just the whole like restraint sort of aspect of these dinosaurs, which is awesome. And it's something we're kind of lacking these days.
Totally. Yeah, the capture gear is like the golden age of Jurassic figures.
Yes, 100%. So this was the first one. Later, for the Lost World line, they released it was basically the same figure, right? It's the same thing, but with different paint.
Figure, yeah.
Okay. Same thing with different paint, and also the capture gear was tweaked as well.
Yeah, the capture gear was kind of cool with the Lost World one. It was like a bigger cage around its head, but the Lost World one has the Lost World one that is the same figure. It has the same, or has a very film accurate paint scheme, which I always appreciated as a kid. And then the dome has sort of like a rainbowish. Sometimes it's yellow and orange. Sometimes it's red and orange. I know there's a couple of variants of this one as far as like the head color goes.
Yeah, that was actually my very first Pachy figure. I know I owned that one. I think that was actually the first Lost World toy I owned, was that Lost World Pachycephalosaurus.
Yeah, it was my brother's first Lost World toy. He got that, and I got the Raptor repaint. I'll never forget. So that was his figure growing up. But now I'm all grown up and have my own.
That's awesome. Just just a little bit off track here, but. The way that I ended up with that figure is, so we had gone to this Walmart, and we had seen the Raptor. We had seen this whole wave, and me and my brother and my mom and, sister, and we wanted the Raptor, and she's like, well, you need to do some chores. This is kind of the same thing we had.
I was waiting for you to say, you have that Raptor at home.
So it was kind of, it was kind of that same thing where, mom's going to make us work for it somehow or another.
Yeah,
so she said, why don't you do this? Why don't we go back? We were staying, my grandparents had a house on South Padre Island, which is in Texas. And they were like, let's go see what coins you can scrounge up. And, maybe you can do some chores and earn a little bit more money. So, we went through all the couch and everything.
Oh,
and, we did some chores and stuff. We helped clean and, so basically we had just enough money to buy one of these, dinosaurs, these smaller scale $10, I think they were dinosaurs. So my brother and I were like, yeah, we're going to get the Raptor. We're going to get the Raptor. We're going to get the Raptor. So we go back to the Walmart. All the Raptors are gone.
Oh.
And we're so bummed out. But the thing is that, you're a kid. Self-control is very hard.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, we can't get the Raptor. We both bought the Pachycephalosaurus.
So did you both get the figure, each?
Yes, we each got the same exact.
That. For a minute, I thought you guys were getting a communal figure, but that's awesome that you guys bought the same figure too. That's awesome. I love stories like that. And don't you wish that you could go back in time and take a picture of that Lost World figure display?
Yes, I do.
Because I still remember it in my head at my Walmart. We had the toy shelves that ran perpendicular to the back of the store, and that back wall in the back of the store was where they had the Lost World figures. And
that's how it was here too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm sure this is just my childhood mind misremembering, but I remember the wall of Lost World figures being 20 feet high, filled with figures. It was not, but as a kid, it was oh my gosh. And that was back in the good old days before you had, people like us spoiling what toys were coming your way. As a kid, you just popped into the store and you're like, oh my gosh, there's Lost World figures. It was just, it was so cool.
Yeah. This exists. What?
So obviously the Lost World Kenner figure for both of us is definitely steeped in nostalgia, which is really cool. And there's also another Lost World figure for Pachycephalosaurus that's like a bigger version of it, a huge version of it, which is kind of funny because I feel like, you know, Kenner, similar to Mattel, really minded like the scale of their dinosaurs to humans. Like they didn't just like make tiny T-Rexes and big T-Rexes and medium-sized T-Rexes. Like they really tried to keep a consistent scale. So I don't really know how to explain this giant Pachycephalosaurus.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird one. And, you know, I never owned this particular Pachycephalosaurus. So this one is also codenamed Ramhead, I guess.
Yeah, right.
And it's basically like the big sister or big brother of, you know, the other one. It's
paint
huge.
app, everything, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so big. It's definitely way beyond what it would have been in the movie and what it would have been in real life, but it's huge. So I guess the defining feature of this one is the pop-up head action that it has.
Yeah, there was like a button above the hips, and there's actually two variants of this. There's one with like an actual button that you can see, and there's another one where they kind of hit it under the soft plastic, which is, I always find little variations like that interesting, because it's like at some point they decided to go back and hide that button. But yeah, you press the button and you push the head down and it clicks, then you press the button and the head pops up, which is it's pretty cool. I mean, with a figure this big, it could like flip Jeeps. I had one when I was a kid. It comes with capture gear, but I was such a weird kid. I was always like, it's too big, so I just never used it in my little Jurassic Park setups, because the thing is huge. Like next to a human, it's like the size of a young T-Rex, if not bigger. Yeah. So I almost feel like they had the toy like prototyped and they were like, there's no way to get this scaled down, but it's so cool, kids will love it, let's just release it or something.
Yeah, this is a weird one, Tim. Like the anatomy is really strange.
It does have the dino damage though, which is cool. Cannot forget that.
That's hugely important, you know, especially in the 90s when, you know, these toys are known for their dino damage and their real feel skin.
Yeah.
So that is a defining feature of this particular dinosaur is the dino damage.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never owned this one. I came very close to picking one up at Comic-Con a few years ago. It was a little expensive, so I ultimately passed on it and bought the Stegosaurus in box instead.
And there you go. Yeah, that's our answer for why this exists. It's literally the assortment kind of partner to the Stegosaurus. It's like the same exact size. So they probably are just like, we need another species. Let's make a giant Pachycephalosaurus.
Yeah, that's
sure.
True.
What's super funny about this one, because I've seen it before, sometimes they break and then the head becomes a missile.
God.
It's awesome. It's got tremendous spring-loaded action. So I think someone sent me a video before of their broken one, and it's like literally it shoots its head across the room. Kind of like a Ghostbuster-esque monster or something. Pretty funny, but yeah, all around just a weird figure for how large it is.
Yeah, I've tried it in person. I've tried the action feature, and it looks really crazy when you stick the head in. So I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this toy for that reason. It's weird, but you know, with weirdness also comes a certain charm.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to pick it up someday. It just, you know, it's weird, but you know, it's cool.
Right, it's a classic, as we'd say. And then we have the Hasbro Jurassic World Pachycephalosaurus. This is the 2015 Hasbro line, not to be confused with the Mattel Jurassic line. Goodness, no. But yeah, it's I dug this figure when it came out, and I remember driving all over Chicagoland to get to a Toys R Us that had one. It's yellow, right? It's got it's
black
got
stripes.
The main thing I remember from it is that, like all Hasbro figures, you flip it around from the side that it was in the packaging, and it has screw holes all over it, basically ruining what would be a pretty cool figure, in my opinion. Yep.
Yeah, no, you know, I think this is one of the better sculpts from Hasbro's Jurassic World line.
Agreed.
It actually looks really nice, like anatomically speaking. I think it's really quite accurate.
Mm-hmm.
The paint is pretty decent on it as well, I think. But like those other, you know, bashers and biters,
there you go.
It's very lightweight, and it's kind of hard to stand. Like I always had a hard time getting mine to stay upright. It would always want to like go sideways.
Yeah, but I do think the paint kind of makes the figure for me, along with the proportions. It's just, that those screw holes are just tragic, but it has a little bit of a headbutting action too, of course.
It does.
Kind of have to have that with a Pachy figure, but I think this one's nice. It's not a total disaster like a lot of the Hasbro Jurassic World figures. I think it will hold its own as we get further into this Jurassic Clash.
Yeah, it's definitely a notable release in this Pachy Arena. So, yeah, and then that takes us to, of course, the present time, the Mattel Jurassic World toy line. And we've actually gotten a slew of Pachycephalosaurs in this line over the last couple of years, haven't we?
Yeah, we started off with the Legacy Collection Pachycephalosaurus. That was Target exclusive here in the States. Definitely the first Pachy most of us picked up. And it, too, like the Kenner Lost World, has a pretty faithful paint job on it. I would say that Kenner, of course, beats them in that department as far as different shades and all that stuff. But it's still pretty accurate for the film with a simplified paint job. But yeah, I think as we go through the Mattel ones, we can all kind of agree that this is sort of a weird figure. It's actually a very weird figure. And that kind of extends into the battle damage version, which was, I think the Legacy Collection is sort of a precursor to Savage Strike. So it wasn't called Savage Strike, but it basically is the same thing. So it had, like, again, the headbutting action. But then battle damage comes along from Mattel, and it doesn't have headbutting action. It just kind of has a rotating head, but it has that battle damage piece, or rather action door that you touch and it shows the wound. So right out the gate, Mattel came out with two Pachy's, the Legacy and the battle damage.
They did. That battle damage one was the first battle damage figure that I bought. I remember it was on April 16th, the day of the launch, 2018. I remember, I did this Toy Hunting Adventures episode where I was going out, looking for the line. And that was my very first stop. I hit this one Walmart, the nearest one to my house, right when it opened. And that was the one figure they had on the shelf. Nice. Just one Pachycephalosaurus. Nice. So I was like, well, I guess I'm buying it.
I got to say, I love how this segment has, like, continually derailed into Toy Findings Toys, because that's kind of like my favorite thing to tell. That same thing for me. I went to Walmart when the Jurassic World toys launched, like the official day, and I'll never forget it. I got there. It's the Walmart that's a little further away from me, but I knew they'd come through. And this woman was, she just got done stocking the shelf, and she was stocking the shelf next to it, but it was just filled with all the battle damage figures. So I started to, like, take them off the shelf and, like, compare them and put them in my cart. And she's like, I just restocked this, and, like, was, like, angry that I was shopping it. It was so weird. God. It's like, dude, this is what it's for. Like, you put them on the shelf and someone comes and buys them. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't like I was making a mess, but I'll always remember that because I was so, like, what? And that was probably be the first time that I got to a Walmart when a toy was supposed to come out and it was there. So also memorable for that reason.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so this is a weird one, though. Again, like you said, this one is freaking creepy. Like, if you look at it from the front, I have them, Tim, on the back of this shelf where I'm not going to really see them too much because these guys creep me out. There's just something, like, sinister about it.
Yeah, and I think as we go through the sculpt, we can talk about it right now with the sculpt. To me, it's their legs. They have, like, alien legs. They're all, like, the front of them has these big giant ridges on them. They're just weird. Same with the arms. It's kind of a strange design choice. I don't know if there's some, paleontological new finding that said the appendages of Pachycephalosaurus were covered in giant scales. I don't know, but it makes this guy look like he's got alien legs for sure. I don't think the head is too bad necessarily. I said it's not too bad. I think but the legs for me are what creep me out. And we do have two more, I guess we should go over before we start picking on poor Mattel Pachy too bad. But there's two other Savage Strike figures that came out. There's the one that came out last year that was purple, which I kind of dug it. It was kind of one of our first purple figures, and for that reason alone, it kind of has novelty value. Same exact Savage Strike attack as the Legacy, and then Savage Strike number 2, which you just got from Walmart. I got it on my review table right here in front of me too. It's got some wild colors.
It does. So, yeah, the purple one is interesting because the tail is, like, painted upside down, like the way they, did the pattern on it. But I agree. I like purple, and I like seeing purple on my dinos, and I think what else in that wave we also had the purple Dilophosaurus.
Right. So it kind of had like a theme.
Yeah, like they had for a while they were doing like the pumpkin spice thing, then they went over to, purple, and now they're doing like, I don't know, we're seeing a little more blue, I guess. Is that what we're seeing, blue?
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, so this newest one, I kind of feel like it looks. Have you ever seen like the concept art from Jurassic World of the Pachycephalosaurus? It kind of has a similar sort of paint scheme to it.
No, for Jurassic World.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
I was going to mention we were talking about the Hasbro one. If that was like our only official on-screen confirmation of what color the Pachy would be. I know it was in the movie like briefly, when they're looking at the control rooms scene with all the, they say like, oh, it's tranquilized the guy out of its pen. Like you see it for a split second, but you don't really see what color it is. I was kind of wondering if like that was from if the Hasbro figure was the intended colors.
I just sent you the link.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, this concept art that you just sent, I mean, this is what this figure looks like, I think, or at least what it's inspired by. I mean, we know that Hasbro does that often. Oh yeah, this is from the website for sure. They do that often or Mattel does that often where they look back on sort of, whether it's the Jurassic World website or a previous toy or a video game or a comic, and they kind of pull these paint schemes sometimes from the deep history that Jurassic has and all of its various mediums, which maybe that's what they did here. It definitely looks inspired by that. This would be even cooler if they did it like this with the little spots and the stripes, but it's definitely reminiscent of it.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's not 100%, but yeah, I mean, you can definitely see like the green splotching and the colors.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar reddish orange color, and then like a green.
I have a
like
whole new
underbelly.
appreciation for this now that you pointed that out.
The head isn't. I like the head on the art though.
Oh yeah,
it has like the green going up the dome. That would have been cool. But...
That would have been cool, but that's not really Jurassic World style to get that.
No.
That fancy. Now that I'm looking at it, it does have a lot of spots on it. If you hold it up in the light a certain way. Wow, I literally have a whole new appreciation for this guy. I went from being not that excited about it to really liking it. That if it's truly inspired by this.
Yeah.
And I think that we've just gone through every single Pachycephalosaurus figure that has come out for Jurassic toys throughout the ages. So let's waste no time and get to comparing them, scoring them, and hopefully figuring out which one comes out supreme.
Let's do it.
So sculpt-wise, I know we spent some time picking on the Mattel sculpt. Any thoughts on which one you're hating, which one you're loving?
In terms of sculpt, Tim, believe it or not, I'm kind of thinking about that Hasbro Jurassic World Pachy.
So are you just considering one half of it? Because I have a real hard time getting over those screw holes. I mean, that's just. Well, I feel like when we're grilling figures on this show, and we're comparing them like this, we've disqualified or shunned toys for a lot less than some glaring screw holes all over the figure. I do love this Hasbro figure though. I feel like if I was really talking about film accuracy or something like that, I think that big Pachycephalosaurus from Lost World, the one that kind of shoots its head out, like it kind of feels like it was created directly off a maquette. I kind of like that sculpt. I can be swayed because it is kind of a ridiculously large figure, but something about it feels very Lost World accurate to me, especially the head. I mean, the sculpt on that head just looks so good. The Kenner Pachycephalosaurs, as much as I love them for being, nostalgic toys of my youth, they have kind of weird heads.
They do have weird heads. I'm having a hard time looking at that giant one. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the anatomy of it, though.
Yeah, no, I guess you're right. It's deeply tied into the action features.
Look at the link I just sent you real quick.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Victoria just sent me a link. It seems that another Pachycephalosaurus is entering the arena before any serious Jurassic collectors threaten to take our card away for forgetting something. There is a Jurassic Park dinosaurs version of the Pachycephalosaurus that I forgot all about. Of course, I love these too. Lots of good Walmart memories for these. But this one came with a human figure. It was a 2-pack. Came out like in 1999 to promote Islands of Adventure, the Jurassic Park ride opening there. But it's a repaint of that Kenner figure. It almost feels like a simpler, bolder coloration of the Lost World colorway. But it's cool.
It's neat. It does seem a little desaturated from that Lost World version, but yeah, I mean, this is kind of the thing they were doing during that era where there was no movies, so they were just putting out this Jurassic Park dinosaurs line, and
I loved this line.
I think a lot of them were Walmart exclusives. Some of them may have been KB Toys exclusives. Yeah. Yeah, and it was an interesting. I didn't really collect much of this line during that time because I think I had already moved on to Star Wars quite a bit.
Yeah. But, I love Jurassic Park dinosaurs. It was like a one last chance to get the Kenner figures and sort of new schemes before Jurassic Park 3 came and did what it did to Jurassic toys. But yeah,
how do you like the T-Rex render on that packaging?
It's cool. It's a maquette. You know what someone pointed out to me this year that I'll never be able to unsee though is the T-Rex is like straight up cross-eyed or his eyes are like, I was asking. They're not only looking in opposite directions, like one's looking up and one is looking out. Like it looks ridiculous. And as a kid, I never even noticed that. And now it's like, oh, I cannot unsee it.
It's like really spazzed out.
Still cool packaging though. At least for me, it's something I'll always remember. But I believe that is every Pachycephalosaurus figure. I don't think we're forgetting any as far as like core toy figures go. So we're going to let him enter the arena and hold his own. But yeah, kind of getting back over into sculpt wise, looks like we're sort of you really want to give it to the Hasbro Pachycephalosaurus. I'm looking at this thing again and I do kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. It's just those screw holes.
I know it has the screw holes, but I mean, if you look at the anatomy of it, if you look at the proportions, I think it looks the most natural out of all of them. And
I would totally love if this figure didn't have screw holes, easy win. And I totally love the color. I wish they would put it on a newer Pachycephalosaurus, but you know what? We're gonna give this one sculpt, and no one can ever say we don't give Hasbro Jurassic World toys any love here. Let's go ahead and put it in. The Hasbro Pachy wins sculpt. Who'd have thought? Okay, and let's get over to paint. I think we really should leverage film accuracy here. I do love the paint job on the Hasbro that just won the mold, but his stripes are a little lazy too. So when we're talking about film accuracy, we can look at the Legacy version and we can look at the the Kenner Lost World version. And to me, something about the Kenner version with the sort of vibrant head, the vibrant dome, I kind of dig that. It kind of gives it a little bit more spice than just straight up movie accurate.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a harder category for me because, like you said, we're always big on film accuracy, but I don't necessarily know that the film accuracy in this particular case is the best looking.
Oh, I know where you're going. You like that Series 2 one with the yellow head?
Yes, I do.
I do like that one too, and it was my first Pachy figure. Yellow is my favorite color. I mean, it's hard to overlook that. And one thing we did not mention that I really do want to mention is the hands on this Kenner Pachy are kind of creepy. It literally has like little fingernails and stuff. It's
but you know though, like the arms on all of them are weird.
Yeah, they're all weird, but I think on this one where they're kind of like flattened out like it's getting a pedicure are especially weird because the ones on the Mattel one are okay. They're a little weird too with those scales, but yeah, the Kenner version literally has fingernails, which is kind of funny. But I think this is an easy win. We're throwing film accuracy out, and we're saying Series 2 Pachy. it just makes sense. I love the contrast. I love like the deeper, darker colors on it with that yellow head. It's cool.
I can't think of anything else we really have that's like this color palette, like in any of the Jurassic lines. Maybe the thing that comes closest is like the Bone Breaker Carnotaurus. But other than that, I can't think of anything else that like looks like this.
Yeah, and I like that it really, really highlights the skull dome head, like big time. All the figures kind of pop the dome with a lighter color, but with that yellow, it kind of reminds me of like nature, and like, the animal would have a bright color like that to sort of warn predators, like, don't mess with me. So, nostalgia and sort of just a logical appreciation for dinosaurs. I think this is my favorite. The series.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. Moving right along to articulation. That Kenner figure, speaking of that, it has pretty decent articulation. Legs and arms, kind of standard, but I mean, it's there.
Yeah, we can't really... The head is integrated into the action features, so it's not really a usable point of articulation, but it's there. Mm-hmm. What would we say? Would we call this 5 POA?
Yeah, I would. Even though the head... you have the one in front of you, right? Does the head turn side to side, or no?
No, it doesn't. It just goes up and down.
It's basically 4 POA then.
Yeah, it's like 4 POA. Okay, so there's that. All right, so the larger Lost World Pachy, what does the articulation look like on that one?
It's the exact same thing with the legs and the arms, but the head, I don't believe... is able to move. I think it's just tied to the neck joint. If anything, it can move up and down. I'm sorry, I don't have that one directly in front of me. I'm trying to do it from memory. But no, it's definitely has no articulation in the head. It's just fused with the neck. So again, 4 points of articulation for this one. And same thing with the Jurassic World dinosaurs. Like all the Pachy sculpts have the same articulation from Kenner. But that Hasbro Jurassic World one, I think probably has the same articulation still, just that action feature kind of tying up what you can do with the head.
Yes.
And then the arms and legs. So really Mattel is going to come out on top in this category, I think. Obviously the battle damage figure has kind of like faux ball joints in the legs as well as the arms.
And the head.
Yeah, and the head, right. And then all the Savage Strike versions have that as well, in addition to their Savage Strike feature, which we can kind of get to later.
Yes, but they don't have the head like the battle damage does.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and give this to... I think we can just kind of category-wide give this to all Mattel Packies, right? I don't think we need to pick one of them.
Yeah. Especially the battle damage. I would give the edge to it just because of the ball joint at the head. But
yeah, okay, let's go ahead and give it the edge. And if it could be anyone's race right now. We kind of have it all over the board here. So moving on to action feature, are we going to count dino damage as an action feature?
We could. I mean, why not?
Sure. Okay. So those classic Kenner Packies, of course, have a headbutting action, which is cool. The sort of like the heavy metal thrashing head bop, but it's still cool.
Yes, it is, and we can't forget that they also have capture gear. So that is part of the feature. So you press the button and it kind of like hits off, knocks off the gear from its head. So
especially the Lost World one. I think the Series 2 Kenner version, you just kind of strapped it to its head and it just kind of rocked around with it. But the Lost World version, you could break out of the cage, which was definitely cool.
Yeah, speaking of that capture gear, it was pretty out of this world. I'm thinking of like the Raptor, right? Like the Lost World Raptor. It had that huge cage on it, and it was just kind of like, really unrealistic.
Yeah, it was like a muzzle like attached to like a pipe attached to the back of it. It's like, who invented this capture gear? For Lost World especially. I feel like the Jurassic Park stuff was like just chains, which I can get behind. But the Lost World capture gear was like hilariously elaborate. It was like a mousetrap of capture gear. That's definitely like weighing pretty heavily on those figures being more fun than just your run-of-the-mill regular release. And I think that the bigger Kenner Pachycephalosaurus with the headbutting action, I mean, it's just sort of gimmicky, and again, the figure's huge, so it's not doing a lot for me. The Savage Strikes for Mattel have the repeating head action where you just You push the tail down and the head kind of shoots out and does like a quick fire headbutt, which it's kind of nice. Yeah. It's nice and compact. It's certainly better than chomping jaws and slashing arms.
Yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward. Unless, we talk like, again, the battle damage where it just has like the trap door basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the battle damage for Mattel is definitely like genius, but in that you don't lose a piece, but you also get to have like a figure without an open wound on it.
Right.
But I do really like the dino damage for that Lost World, that big Pachycephalosaurus, because it's literally just like the old Kenner figures with the rubber piece that goes into the side. I mean, it's obviously almost probably designed by the same team because it fits in perfectly with those. But I think the action feature, if we're going to count capture gear as part of it, I think this is an easy win for me.
The giant Pachy?
No, I would go with the Lost World smaller Pachy as far as that capture gear goes.
Okay, yeah, I'm on board with that.
All right, again, this could be like a huge tie. I don't know. We'll see. All right,
it's weird.
Getting down to fun factor, where we kind of take into account everything, even like the way the figure feels as far as like the plastic, all that stuff. Again, I think I'm going to bring up screw holes and take that away from the the Hasbro figure. I think that really detracts from the fun factor, and that you can only really appreciate the figure from one side, which is it's a side that faced out of the package.
And it doesn't stand very well either.
Oh, right. And that brings us to the Mattel figures. I mean,
none of them can stand.
Those figures for me are the hardest to stand, the Pachy's.
They
all
are.
Of them.
I know that very first battle damage Pachy, I know I keep bringing it up, but that first battle damage Pachy was like, it's one of the ugliest Pachys. It's probably the ugliest like dinosaur in the Mattel line, but it's kind of grown on me in some weird, like, off the cuff way. I don't understand why, but it's grown on me for some reason.
It's got some wild red in it, or wild orange. And I think what's funny about the pose for all the Mattel ones, it's like they're trying to like do the splits, but also like they have ice skates on. I don't know. Every time I set them up, they just kind of like they just kind of fall down in the most funny way. It's not like they just fall forward. They their legs separate and then they fall to the side. It's just such a strange pose they did. It's sort of like it's planting its foot, getting ready to charge, but also it just falls over. So
but it's like you say, it totally looks like it's ice skating. Like it's got its hands up, like to balance. Like, oh shoot, I'm gonna fall. I better be careful. And then it like bump falls down.
It's a very clumsy Pachy, so that definitely takes away from the fun factor when you can't even get the figure to stand, or you have to meticulously hold it in place to balance it. I would think, as a kid trying to play and set up your dinosaurs and get ready for this awesome head-butting Pachy, it's like it would just keep falling over and you would just get sick of it. So, so what are we going to give this one to? I almost feel like I want to give this to the Lost World Pachy again.
The little one, right?
The little one, yeah. Again, that capture gear, the headbutting action is still super fun. And again, it's that right color scheme that's like, as a kid, it's familiar from the movie, but it's not like perfectly accurate, but it does the job. Yeah.
Well, as we were talking about earlier, I do prefer the paint on the Series 2 version, but I really like the paint on that smaller Lost World one as well. Like I said, I had that one, as a kid, and it still looks really cool. It kind of gives me, Jungle Explorer vibes to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
It's, and the capture gear, the action feature, and it stands. That's the real important thing here we got to talk about is that this particular sculpt, you're never going to have any problem with it standing, because even if you can't get it to stand on two legs, you can prop it up using the front legs, which isn't really necessary, but you could do that. And
there's no issue standing these older figures, which I just need to point out. They're so easy to stand. It's not even funny.
Yeah, they're so great. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like a lot of our Jurassic clashes might be a little tainted by our nostalgia for the toys themselves, but I feel good about this one. I think we're going to declare the Lost World Kenner Pachycephalosaurus, the small one, not to be confused with the giant one, as our winner in the Pachy Arena.
I think that's wise. The Pachycephalosaurus of choice would be the Lost World Pachycephalosaurus. And it comes out on top. It stands. And that's hugely important. We talk about this all the time. Like if a toy can't stand, that's one of the most basic functions of a dinosaur toy. If it can't stand, that doesn't have a whole lot else going for it. And these stand, they're fun. Yes, they're nostalgic, but they still look great. They're nicely sculpted, and
that capture gear too. Let's not forget
the capture gear too. They're a blast. They're a blast.
Totally. This one was a lot of fun with all these different figures, all these different versions. I feel like a lot of time we're comparing repaints or we're only comparing a couple of versions, but I didn't realize until we sat down tonight to record this that there are so many versions of Pachycephalosaurus in the Jurassic line. So fun to kind of revisit all of them, even the screw holes.
Yeah, definitely fun. And I think I have a little bit higher of a, I know I talked about how creepy these Mattel ones are, but I think just generally speaking, I have a higher appreciation now for this particular species of dinosaur in the whole realm of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World toys.
For sure. And you showed me that this paint scheme might be inspired by the concept art. So I also have a newfound appreciation. So
nice.
Educational segment for us all around.
Thank you for listening. I'm Victoria.
And I'm Tim. And for even more Jurassic collecting info, please check us out online. You can visit our official website, collectjurassic.com. And we're also on social media at collectjurassic on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also be sure to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/collectjurassic.
And you can find me by visiting the Victoria's Cantina YouTube channel. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Victoria's Cantina, and on Twitter at Vic's Cantina. You can also find the Cantina Chatter podcast as well as the Discoveryland show wherever you listen to podcasts.
And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and an excellent review. Those are the park rules.
You can also get in touch with us by sending a message to the Fax Machine. That's collectjurassic@gmail.com.
So thank you for visiting, and we hope you've enjoyed your trip to the park.
Ladies and gentlemen, the park is closed. Please make your way towards the East Dock. We hope you'll book a return visit for another adventure into Collect Jurassic World.